Greetings and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at some tricks in Lsdj. First off, we have a noise instrument I call a pre-snare. Some people might call this a reverse snare or reverse cymbal. All it is a small noise instrument that gets placed before a snare hit that will give a little bit of foreshadowing and thus more impact to that snare. Secondly, we have a wave channel trick. This trick will allow you to create the illusion that your wave kicks and wave basses start on the same downbeat. First off, let's take a listen at what we're going to be working with today. Alright, first thing you'll notice is that the bass and the kick do in fact sound like they're starting on the same downbeat. And the second thing you'll notice is that small whoosh of noise right before the snare. That is the pre-snare. Let's take a look at that first. Now the instrument 4, those are just standard hi-hats, nothing special there. And instrument 3, this is the pre-snare. Now the pre-snare has an envelope of 0.9. 0 meaning it starts at 0 volume and then raises in volume at the speed designated by 9. Length is 1E. This will create a sound that is roughly 6 ticks long, which is what I needed to be placed right in front of the snare. That's the length I needed. The shape is a preference thing. I have FC right now for the specific snare drum that I'm using. Different snares might want a different shape in front of them. It's just what sounds best for the snare you're using. I'm using the sampled 909 snare if you're interested. And that's all there really is to the instrument side of things. Here's what it sounds like by itself. Okay, I'm going to take away this pre-snare now and play the example again. And pay attention to the little bit of impact that gets lost when it's not present. Alright, now that sounds perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it, but in my opinion, it greatly benefits from having the pre-snare added. It definitely gives it a little more flair, a little more impact. Here's the example one more time. Alright, let's move on to the wave trick. Now this will allow you to create the illusion that the kick drum and bass are starting on the same downbeat, like I've stated before. Now when I first picked up Lsdj, what I would do is put a kick drum sound in the first slot and then a bass drum sound in the slot immediately following that. And when I would play it, there would be a definite delay before the bass started. It would sound a little bit like this. The bass is starting on the first 16th note. It's almost like an upbeat. It definitely doesn't sound like it's starting on the same downbeat. Now the trick to this has two aspects to it. The first one being grooves. Grooves is a big part of this. The wave channel is going to be in a groove of 3x3, and the rest are going to be the standard 6x6 groove. Now the kick drum sound also has a lot to do with this. The kick drum sound that I'm using is only 3 ticks long. Because we've shortened up this the speed of the phrase, it's essentially double the speed it used to be. We're going to need a kick drum sound that's a lot shorter. Now the kick that I'm using has a waveform that looks like this. I started off with a sine wave at volume 2E, and then I tweaked little parts of it until it sounded right to my ears. The table to this is quite important. You need a kick drum, not a kick, a kill command at line 3 which essentially stops all sound after 3 ticks has passed. The transpose command is not important at all. I just put those in because I like my kicks at note E2. That's just a preference thing. Now, the P command is where you're going to designate how long the kick decay is. For this sound, I chose D4 just because it has a lot of impact still and stops before 3 ticks is over. You can experiment with the kick sound you desire. Now, the bass sound, if you're interested, is just a saw bass. It is volume 20, cutoff 20. That's all there is to that. Apart from the volume for this needs to be 2. At least if you're using a quiet kick drum like I am. Since there is no clipping on this on my custom waveform right here, the volume's not going to be as loud as if it was like a really full-on square clipped bass kick drum sound. So I made my bass instrument at volume 2 so they would be closer to the same volume. Here's what they sound like isolated. They definitely sound like they're starting on the same downbeat, which is what we want. This all started because I really wanted both pulse channels open so I can utilize them completely for chords and lead lines and stuff like that. I just wanted those pulse channels dedicated. And this allows me to keep all the drums in the wave and noise channels. I mean, noise is essentially only hi-hats and the pre-snare in this example, at least. I mean, I could still use it for noise effects and stuff, but the wave channel is kick, bass, and snare. So I think I covered everything I needed to. Hopefully you took away something from this video, and hopefully I could come up with some more tricks for you in the future. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you later.